Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume.
Strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome to the War Room. It's Monday, July 13th, the year of our Lord 2020, broadcasting live from Capitol Hill. Raheem Kassam, Jack Maxey, Greg Manns. On the John Fredericks Radio Network, America's Voice, Newsmax TV, and blown through the CCP's firewall by G News and GTV, subtitled in Mandarin. We're grateful to have you in the War Room with us today on the YouTube live chat, on the Facebook live chats, on Twitter, on Parler. Hashtag War Room Pandemic is your way of getting involved with the show, both live and after the fact. We check through everything you guys are mentioning. One of the smartest, if not the smartest radio and television audience out there. I want to hand it over now to Stephen K. Bannon. Do we have Steve?
Yeah, you have that clip?
Steve, sorry, we lost you there right at the beginning. Is this the you want to jump straight into the smoke out Biden clip?
If you got the Jesse Waters clip, yep.
Let's roll it.
I think if you want to smoke him out, it's not going to be rhetoric. You're going to smoke him out with action. Action, action, action on jobs, on EOs about jobs. The thing, Biden's line he tried to use on the president is that all you care about is the stock market and the investor class. That's the biggest chutzpah I've ever seen. It was Joe Biden and Barack Obama that in their administration we had the greatest concentration of wealth in world history, from the crash of 2008 until Donald Trump took the oath of office. Donald Trump's economy, although we had a robust stock market, Donald Trump's economy was a striver's economy. Remember, it's the first time the working class people's wages were increasing more than people with college degrees.
Back to you, Steve.
Look, one of the things we pride ourselves in is giving you tomorrow's news today. That's why so many hedge fund managers listen to the show, so many trading desks, political consultants, newsrooms, and of course we make this show for the deplorables, both the deplorables in the United States and Lao Beijing, old 100 names, in China and throughout the world. This show, what we're doing, we have people that drive action. It's going to take action to get us through this pandemic. It's going to take us action to get through this economic inferno, the financial crisis on top of that. So we're going to have people that know about action today. People like Brian Kolfage from We Build the Wall. We've got Larry Elder. We've got Mike Cernovich. We've got a tremendous entrepreneur in the second hour. We're going to take you from London and what's happening with NATO, about China, to the streets of Hong Kong. But we're going to start on the southern border about our wall. I want to bring in a colleague, a friend, and a guy really I can say he's kind of a mentor, because he taught me really about how you actually have to build a wall. And this is Tommy Fisher from Fisher Industries. Tommy, thank you very much for joining us today on War and Pandemic.
Great to be here, Steve.
Listen, people don't know, when we built the wall up the mountain in El Paso, Texas, you actually finished construction of what the Border Patrol has told us. They picked that area as a part. It was an area that the Army Corps of Engineers was not going to go to. And Brian Kolfage has done such a great job of kind of firing people up to support President Trump's border wall program, that this is something they passed on. And the Border Patrol said, hey, we really needed to stop the cartels. You essentially built it in a weekend. You came in on a Friday afternoon of Memorial Day. We had to do it kind of under the dark of night. We were working out our permits at the time, but I think by Tuesday morning, Wednesday, you had a completed wall, a half a mile, 3/4 mile up a side of a hill, I think a 35% slope. Then you built one down on the Rio Grande. Over the weekend, there was kind of a hit piece on you in one of the one of the reporters down there is saying that the wall you built actually on the river had some problems. Can you get us up to date? Because I look to you as a guy that really knows construction, knows what needs on the southern border. And in fact, I think you've got one of the biggest contracts down there right now. I don't know if it's in the Yuma territory in California somewhere. You're building it. So can you walk us through what this hit piece on your wall down on the Rio Grande and what the reality is?
Yeah, sure, Steve. So there were some articles written that there was major erosion to the wall, and the wall could potentially fall in the river, which was absolutely nonsense. As we built, of course, we built next to the river, and there are slopes that drain to the river that are 5 to 1 from the wall that we built. Basically, 2/3 of the soil, the grass took very well, and it grew fast. And during an 8-inch and a 5-inch rain event, basically there was no erosion on one side and minor erosion on the other, maybe about a foot deep in the sand where the grass didn't grow. So anyone who has any experience in construction will know that when you build construction or new construction, you have a landscape establishment period to get the grass to grow where it needs to grow. And as contractors, we have other remedies that we can do with riprap or additional concrete. So I was able to go out there 2 weeks ago, witness the wall and the road myself. There wasn't one part of concrete that looks like it's leaning. The road performed awesome. The border agent said it was one of the only places they could monitor the border during those large storm events. So we know that once the grass takes, it works, and it's proven, and we've sent that. So I would invite any of these engineers that so-called said that this is going to fall over. I'll meet them there next week. I'll meet them there in 2 years. I'll meet them there in 10 years. If you don't know what you're talking about, you really shouldn't probably start talking.
Let me ask you, why did you, I want you to walk through the logic and working with DHS, et cetera. Why did you end up actually, and we were the guys that helped you at the beginning put some working capital in so you get going, but you built the rest of it out of your own pocket. Why did you pick to actually build on the river, which I think was obviously the most controversial versus I think it was a mile inland? I know that the landowners down there wanted it on the river because of the problems they were having with crossings, but walk me through your logic and who you talked to actually to construct it right on the river.
So not only did they meet with landowners, but also DHS officials, and they said this was one of the #1 trouble spots because it was actually from the tip where we built on the very bottom was almost 3 miles where the current government is attempting to build. And so it was causing real havoc for the agents. So I said, well, if it could be built there and Fisher likes the tough jobs, I said, I think we can design something that works. It's got to be a different type of footing. It's got to be a different type of makeup of the fence to a galvanized fence versus conventional steel because you're right next to the river. And so a lot of people said it couldn't be done. We modeled it. We proved that it could be done and built there. It is done. It's working unbelievably well. And there's a little bit of erosion maintenance that we have to maintain. But as we do that and we get the grass to grow, I believe in my heart, as well as every person in DHS, this is the only solution. You have to build a border wall on the border.
Let me ask you, since that time in the difference in the construction that you did there versus the more traditional walls, and I think you're building a more traditional one or type wall down in the territory you're in. I want to get into that. Tell me, what's the difference? What's the difference in what you built? Because from the very beginning, we had the butterfly people. We've had people down there criticizing this. They said you couldn't do it in the time, you couldn't do it at that price. What is literally the difference in the wall that you constructed and built there, for instance, versus the ones that you're building in California or the proposed one that's going to be built a little bit inland?
Well, the difference from what we're building in the other 3 states is our wall is 18 feet tall versus 30. We're built on a spread footing instead of a vertical footing, so we sort of match the soil type that we have in the Rio Grande, because not all geography or geology is the same. And then the biggest thing is because of the humidity there with the potential for rust and the heavy amounts of rain, is we concreted the road and used a galvanized coating on the steel itself to give a long lifespan. And then as compared to the difference of what they're building in the Rio Grande, they're basically building their border protection system on the current levee, that separates the floodplain from the regular land where McAllen or Mission or any of the other towns are. And they're building sort of a concrete flood wall that also has a spread footing. And they basically encase bollards on top of their, per se, concrete. So, you know, just because of the geology, that's why we chose there. And we used 26 years of my experience, along with probably a couple hundred years of our engineers' experience at Fisher Industries to come up with what we built.
Tommy, tell us what you're doing down in California. I know you're working with the with President Trump's team down there in the DHS and the Army Corps of Engineers, all that. Walk the audience through what's happening. And I want to talk about how the wall is actually working to stop incursions, to stop cartels, and to stop, you know, on a humanitarian basis to make sure that people can't get across in these areas where there's desert and cartel guys that can prey on them. Well, walk us through the incursion rates, what's dropped since you built wall, and what are you actually doing in California now?
So there we're working hand in hand with the Army Corps and the President's team there. Everyone's doing a great job, putting up 30-foot fence, you know, right on the border. As far as you know how effective it is, I know that as the wall goes up, you know, we don't see you know really much traffic. We're building in some very, very tough areas, real mountainy areas between, you know, Nogales and Sassabee. That was the bigger contract, very tough grading. But we sort of did the same grading like we did in the El Paso job with We Build the Wall. And I just believe it's a unified effort that the Corps is working hand in hand with the contractors to deliver for the President's promise and wanting to secure the border. So, you know, we're just happy to have a commander-in-chief that supports that, and we're going to try to do what the government's direction is to us and build a high-quality product.
Last question. I got Brian's going to come on in a second, but I would just want to, for the audience, go back in time when you did the We Build the Wall in El Paso. You built it right up the side of a mountain, and you did it in 5 days. Walk people through quickly how you did that, how you accomplished it, and particularly I want to talk about the Border Patrol guys telling us how big an incursion area was and then how much they love what you built afterwards.
Well, it was a big unified effort from multiple sides of the Fisher team as well as We Build the Wall to, you know, raise and put up the money to do something like that, and then working with the local landowners and Border Patrol. The hardest thing for Border Patrol is there was no access. And to go up slopes that were 40, 50% in grades, maybe even 60, before the road was built at 31, they just couldn't stop, you know, multiple, members coming in from different angles. And so once we built the road, there was a lot of smiles. They can get up to the top. They can protect that. But ultimately for George and Jeff, who, you know, as an American citizen, just wanted their safety, it made me happy that they were very happy that their land was secured. And so that's what we're trying to do. So I'm a firm supporter of the President and his mission to secure the border. And I really believe that all countries should have secure borders that, you know, define them as a country, nothing more than that.
Tommy, how do people get up to date? Do you update your website so they can find out what you're doing? How do people get more access? I know you've been on Fox. You come on here every now and again. How do people get more access to you, Tommy Fisher? Because if you want to know how to build a wall, I think you're the guy to ask.
Well, I'm so busy, just trying to deliver on the President's promise with the Corps of Engineers down here that, this is one of my only and rare appearance that we've made because we're working, 24/7 to do that. So my thing would be is I think as you research, the President's been down, they've been posting a lot of stuff there. But, my understanding is I think between all the contractors and with the Corps' help, I'm thinking that we're producing easily over a mile a day. And,
gentlemen,
it's just,
we have to break.
It's just an exciting time.
Gentlemen, we have to
Tommy,
break.
thank you very much. Tommy Fisher, we'll go to a break. American patriot, great mentor, and a guy who knows how to build a wall. Raheem, back to you.
We'll be back with more War Room Pandemic with Greg Mans, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon, Brian Kolfage, Mike Cernovich, Larry Elder, and a whole lot more after this break.
If you suffer from foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, even lower back pain, if just standing causes aches, soreness, and fatigue, the problem could be your feet. When your feet are out of alignment, your entire body is out of alignment and you're in pain. Now you can change all of that. Today, introducing Superthotics, the doctor-designed breakthrough that solves the problem in your feet and relieves the pain throughout your entire body. It begins with the cushioned BioLock heel cup that holds your heel and ankle in perfect alignment. Next, metatarsal and longitudinal arch supports distribute the pressure of your body weight evenly across the entire foot. Plus, these customizable inserts, which correct the angle at which your foot hits the ground, relieving your pain with every step you take. Imagine being able to dance, walk, work, play golf, or just spend an afternoon shopping without the aches, pains, stiffness, and poor balance that rob you of your active life.
As a flight attendant, I spend a lot of time on my feet. The moment I put the Superthotics in, I could feel a huge difference. The pain in my knees went away, the pain in my feet went away. Not only am I wearing them for work, I am wearing them all the time.
Imagine finally getting relief from painful problems like bunions, shin splints, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, and even stress fractures. Doctor-prescribed orthotics can cost $600 to $800, but you won't pay anywhere near that for Superthotics when you call the number on your screen or go to superthotics.com. For a limited time, you'll get the manufacturer's direct price of just $39.95. Call now, and we'll also include, at no extra cost, our soothing peppermint lotion to help invigorate your feet. You will also get our luxurious comfort slippers designed with durable memory foam. You receive it all. Superthotics are not available in any store. Call or go to superthotics.com now.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes one too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
For everyone like you making their business work online, there are people searching, headed in your direction. For every detail you adjust, there are potential customers digging deeper. For every photo you position, there are others watching and wondering. So since people are still looking for what you do online, GoDaddy is making it possible for you to create a website for free.
Nice technique with that knife there.
Start now at GoDaddy.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room for an action-packed show today. Greg Mans, Jack Maxey, and Raheem Kassam here on Capitol Hill. Over to Stephen K. Bannon.
Yeah, look, why are we starting at the southern border today? The reason is it always giving you tomorrow's news today. What's coming down the track is some sort of immigration executive order and some sort of dealing with DACA. And the word on the street in Washington, D.C., it may include amnesty. It may include some kind of quote-unquote pathway to citizenship. So the southern border is going to get to be another massive issue in this 2020 campaign and really for the direction of the country. We're going to get Mike Cernovich on here in a moment, a real fighter, a real warrior. But I'm going to bring in another warrior right now, Brian Kolfage. Brian was the founder of We Build the Wall. Brian, I just got a question to ask you. Since you've really been the guy that put his shoulder to the wheel on this thing for the last couple of years, walk us through, I think it was December of 2018, what inspired you to start We Build the Wall, and why have you taken, 2 years out of your life to be the leader of this effort? So walk us through what was in your thinking, what did you want to do, and what do you think you've accomplished?
Well, we started over frustration with Democrats not giving President Trump what he wanted, and that was his wall. So I thought maybe I could have a small impact and raise money billions of dollars to give to the president so he could build his wall. And it would be the United States citizens opening up their checkbook and giving the president their hard-earned money to build the wall. Well, as we learned, couldn't give the money to the president and have it earmarked to go towards the wall. But we did raise $25 million off of donations from American citizens who felt very important, felt Borski was important, and they gave it to us to build the wall. And we took those funds, which weren't raised on ads or anything like that, and we used it and rolled it over into a nonprofit called We Build the Wall. And We Build the Wall represents the American people coming together to build the wall, and we use those funds to build border walls. Just something that simple. And with those funds, we were able to impact 2 different cities, El Paso and Mission, Texas. And those cities are reaping the benefits of the border wall. We've stopped millions of dollars worth of drugs from coming across from just plugging these small holes. And it's been so successful that the Department of Homeland Security has now given us a list of border wall projects where they want us to help plug little holes. And by little holes, I mean gaps that could be a half mile or a mile. And they know the importance of these little gaps because they're being taken advantage of by the cartels. And that's what we're going to keep doing. We don't play the political games and get involved in all the fighting. We're going to keep plugging these holes until our border security is taken care of, because it's something we've been promised for the last 30 years.
Yeah, I just want to go back over that. I mean, one of the things that struck me about El Paso is that we asked kind of the Border Patrol guys down there things as the wall's being built in a broader context, because you got so much of the border that President Trump's trying to build the wall on, in obviously in a limited amount of time, and a very limited amount of money. Where are some of these really kind of, I call them not squirrely places, but very difficult to get to, that kind of been passed over, that are still cartel strike points. And that's really whether it's Mission, Texas on the actual river itself, or it's in El Paso up the wall. I think of the 20 or 30 projects we've gone through and analyzed and see, I think every one of them, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, they're all kind of what I call special forces things. They're tuck-ins, but they're tuck-ins in kind of very difficult places. And particularly they're ones used by the cartels really to come across. Is that not correct? And human trafficking and drug trafficking?
Yeah, that's correct. And the majority of these cartels, they don't want to truck through the desert as well. And, we're building wall way out in the middle of the desert, but, that's still vital. We need to close it off. It's in these urban centers, in these urban areas where these little gaps are, they're fully being taken advantage of, and that's where all the drugs, or most of the drugs and illegal activity is coming across. And it's being overlooked, but I think Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security are now noticing it, and that's why they're shifting these little gaps to us to build to help them seal them off.
Well, listen, I know people don't say it enough, but I want to say thank you for our audience, and thank you for everybody I know that cares about the wall, not just the wall, but the seminars, the conferences you guys have put down there. I've been very honored to be part of it, but the conferences, the content that came out of the conferences, all of that has just been enormous. One last thing I want to leave you with before I turn to Cernovich. There's all this talk about DACA, everything like that. In your mind, because you've been engaged in this, you've really turned your whole life over to this for the last couple of years. If there's amnesty or a pathway to citizenship in any kind of executive order that the president signs this week, how do you think the deplorables? Because you're down there with the hardcore. I mean, you got Tancredo, had Michelle Malkin, you've got Kobach, you've got the Numbers USA crowd. These are the people that are really focused on American citizenship and making sure we maximize advantage for African Americans, Hispanic, the Hispanic population, the rest of the country. What do you think will happen if there's actually a pathway to citizenship in the president's EO?
If the president does a pathway to citizenship without getting his border wall guaranteed to be built, that whole wall that we wanted, I think there's going to be a lot of trouble because, everything, this is what the Democrats want. They obviously want DACA, they want it, but they fought against him and not giving him his border wall. So I think it's wrong, and I hope he doesn't go that route without getting something in return.
Do you think, could you trust, Brian, you've been down there so much. Do you think you can trust the Democrats, particularly a House led by Nancy Pelosi, who fought the president to the, I mean, you wouldn't be in business if it hadn't been for the shutdown in December of 18. That's how you got the whole idea. Are you going to sit there with a straight face and tell me if he can get the wall? Would you trust Nancy Pelosi on anything she said about the wall, except tearing it down?
Definitely not. No, I definitely wouldn't trust any of them after everything they've gone through. But we'll see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. If he does that, it's not going to benefit us. It's not going to benefit the American people to go that route. And I don't want to speculate on too much because I don't know what's going to happen. But I just hope he does the right thing, and we'll see.
Kofod, you've gotten so good at this. I can't wait till we run you for office. You sound like a Republican looking to run for Congress. You sound like a Republican running for Congress now. No, that's okay, brother. I know you're learning. Hey, one thing I'll guarantee you, Brian, and you're an American patriot. Nancy Pelosi, the first thing when she gets total power, if she has a Democrat president and a Democratic Senate, the first piece of wall she's going to tear down is that piece in El Paso, Texas. You watch, just in your memory. So I want to thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. You're a fantastic guy. People, I got to know you've dedicated your life to do this, and God bless you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I want to turn now. We've had kind of murderers row here. Tommy Fisher, Brian Kolfage, two guys who know how to fight. Very honored to now have Mike Cernovich, guy I've been fortunate to know now for a number of years, and a real fighter, and a guy that doesn't pull back. Mike, I got a lot of stuff. Raheem and the team want to really, because I think you're probably the cutting edge of social media and technology and what I call the fourth industrial revolution, all of this about the merger of technology and media. But before you get to that, I got to ask you, because I know you're very vocal about this whole concept. The reason we started at the wall was obviously the controversy over the weekend on Tommy Fisher's, the wall we helped him with down on the Rio Grande, right on the banks of the river. But it's really about the reason we're doing this is all Washington's talking about a potential DACA bill. What do you think? I'm going to ask you the same question we asked Kolfage. If the president's executive order this week, or this immigration bill, whatever they're working on, if it has pathway to citizenship or some sort of amnesty in it, how do you think that's going to affect the base and the people that you talk to every day and kind of look to you for leadership?
Yeah, the name of the game is voter suppression, and I think what'll happen is people just won't come out to vote. That's what'll happen.
You think it's that dramatic? You think when you say people won't come out to vote? Let's go back in time, and Raheem, you jump in here. But in 15 and 16, there was a firestorm of activity in social media, right? And you were one of the leaders of that. People talking about things, people putting forward ideas, people getting people motivated. I mean, in the summer, and this is the thing. Although President Trump was way down in the polls, particularly in late July and early August, there was this kind of huge effort you could see of people talking about ideas, people excited about things, people getting their friends involved, etc. Do you see that today? And do you think that when you say suppression of the vote, do you think that actually something as dramatic as an amnesty for illegal aliens will suppress the vote that much?
Well, that's there's, as you said, the alliance was always three ways: the evangelicals who want their judges, the people like me, the economic nationalists and populists, and then immigration. So you're hollowing out your base. That's the base. That's where the whole Trump presidency is standing on. And you can't imagine Trump said, for example, I'm just going to appoint some liberal to Supreme Court. The evangelicals are going to say, bye-bye, see you later. Imagine Trump says, I'm going to roll in for China. People like me say, bye-bye, see you later. Immigration is that important. It's that much of a signature issue where people aren't going to run and vote for Biden, but they're going to say that if I've been betrayed on the only issue that matters to me, why vote? What is even the point?
1 minute, Steve.
Mike, did we lose Mike?
No, we're all good. We got 1 minute before break.
Okay, I tell you what, Raheem, let's turn back to you. I want to bring Cernovich back in, Mike back in after the break. I want to get everybody on #WarrenPandemic jumping in here. I want to get the live chat. Let's get some feedback. Raheem, I'll turn it over to you. Take us out. We'll bring Cernovich back in the next segment, and then Larry Elder.
Yeah, we want to get more into this as well. There's just a lot going on. You saw from Kurt Schlichter over the weekend as well, these complaints about the text messaging that's coming in from the campaign and the messaging there. We're hearing it. The same thing about DACA also. So we're going to get all this straightened out. We'll be back with more War Room Pandemic in just a moment. In studio here, Greg Mance, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam. Down the line, Stephen K. Bannon, Mike Cernovich. We'll have Larry Elder joining us also in the next segment. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive, and it's nice and small.
The MyPillow topper, for the first time, has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the MyPillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
MyPillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but so much more. For example, you get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room here on Capitol Hill. Over to Stephen K. Bannon.
If you're a fan of the War Room, you know action, action, action. That's what this show is all about. That's what we talk about 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be one of the people that lead us through not just this pandemic, but the economic inferno and the financial crisis on top of that. If you're an entrepreneur, you need every tool in the toolbox, and the most important tool you can get is NetSuite by Oracle. Remember, Oracle is #1 on the cloud. NetSuite is #1 with entrepreneurs. If your business is between $1 million and $100 million in revenue, you need NetSuite by Oracle. Go to netsuite.com/Bannon, BANNON, today to get your 7 action steps every entrepreneur should be taking during this time of turbulence and crisis. That's NetSuite by Oracle. I want to bring back our guest, Mike Cernovich. He's a guy that knows about action because he's a man of action. Mike, just real quickly, I want to go back to your tripartite analysis that that a pathway to citizenship or any type of amnesty you think would be a death blow to at least a part of the immigration leg of our stool. Real quickly, before I turn it back to Raheem, Joe Biden's speech, you say you're a populist and economic nationalist. Did Joe Biden steal a march on not just the campaign, but the Trump White House and even guys like Mike Cernovich? Did Biden steal a march the other day in Scranton when he came out kind of as a populist and an economic nationalist, kind of discounting the 47 years he's had as a politician? As an economic nationalist and a populist, what do you think of Biden's speech?
Well, he tried to, just like Elizabeth Warren tried to early on when the pandemic hit about supply chains. They know there's an expression where they say a sociopath knows the words but doesn't have the energy or the music. So Biden stole the message in a way, but it looked like a little boy putting on a suit. I don't think it's fooling anyone. However, it is one of those moments where you're just frustrated. Why are you getting beat up, right? I imagine I remember the scene of Angelo Dundee getting in Sugar Ray Leonard's face in between rounds in the great boxing match of Leonard and Hearns, saying, "You're blowing it, kid. You're blowing it." And I think that's how a lot of people who are early Trump supporters feel with Trump now. You're in the corner. You're looking at him and you're thinking, what are you doing? The country's being destroyed by China. You're getting in petty celebrity beefs. Why don't you call out Steve Kerr for doing business with China, but playing some kind of woke boy act? Why don't you get in the faces of people who matter and put this petty beef aside, get on message and get your act together? And I think that's the frustration that people feel right now towards Trump.
Raheem, I know you had some ideas here about the whole tech part of it and the artificial intelligence suppression. Go ahead and jump in with Mike.
Yeah, Mike, there was obviously a keen amount of energy in 2016 on the I suppose what we referred to back then as a Twitter sphere that has now broadened out, lots of different platforms out there and lots of different growing platforms out there. But it does feel like at this point in the cycle, the energy isn't quite what it was in 2016. Now, you can put that down to a great number of things, I suppose, whether it's the shock factor of a president Trump or a candidate Trump being sort of new or different from anything we'd seen before. But it also seems like there are all these opportunities, as you mentioned, with Joe Biden. They're very much the same opportunities with Hillary Clinton, if not more, especially given Biden's ties to Beijing, especially given the corruption with his son, especially given the Ukraine stuff and everything we learned as a corollary of the impeachment last year and more. But you're not necessarily seeing that bear out in terms of energy on social media. And I think a lot of people are wondering, is that organic or is that manufactured? Is there an artificial element to the tamping down of the pro-Trump social media people?
Sure, people respond to incentives, and if you're a prominent Trump supporter on social media trying to do voter drives, get out the registration, you're going to be tactically nuked by the tech companies. So who wants to be a martyr? I'm not trying to be Jesus Christ being prosecuted on the cross and crucified publicly. That's not what anyone's trying to do, but that's where it's going to be. So why in the world would anyone do anything for Trump on social media, right? People don't like to hear that. Trump's people get mad when I say it. Their social media is boring. They're sending out these grifty emails. You've been kicked out of the club. Reactivate your secret membership card. Just stuff that you read and you're looking like you people are morons. Who is in charge? Who is doing this? What is wrong with all of you? But the flip side is, why would you organically counter message on social media and say, here, destroy me next, kill me next, for some guy who doesn't even care, who won't do anything, who watches while this happened for 3-4 years and did tax cuts from Paul Ryan and still pretends that Lindsey Graham's going to issue subpoenas. What really is the point, right? It's a dumb move. So I think that unless you have a Jesus Christ complex and you want to be a martyr on the cross, you know that you should not be doing any kind of hardcore organizing for Trump online.
You've experienced that yourself. Yeah, Steve, I just wanted you've experienced that yourself, Mike, with your movie, with Hoaxed, right? The tactical nuking of the spreading of your movie, and you nevertheless, you've managed to kind of get over that hurdle and still have a best-selling movie out there. Is there a message for people who do have that complex, who do want to go to the wall with their messaging, and who do want to, maybe make themselves a target because they believe so strongly? How did you do it? How did you make sure that you were still, a bestseller in terms of this movie, despite being targeted by the tech companies?
Yeah, Hoax was a unity film, and that's why we did it to bring the center left in, to educate them. Because I'm an anti-war guy, so as much as I might be frustrated with other things Trump does, he's kept us out of all the wars despite that full press of the neoliberal establishment to get us into war. So we reached a lot of the anti-war crowd in the center left, and that was the power of Hoax. But right when Hoax was banned from Amazon, all these conservatives who make all that pro super PAC money, millions and millions and millions of dollars, they didn't mention that. They didn't mention that there's a film 2 weeks in a row, top 10 independent best-selling film, all independent film. We almost sold Uncut Gems. They don't want to mention it. It's all about the grift, guys. That's what we learned here, is that these pro-Trump influencers or whatever, they're there for foster frees and getting the big checks and everything like that. But when it comes to just bare knuckles things, the kind of things that I did in 2016, they don't want to do it because they want to know, is the check going to clear? It's not their heart. Everybody knows this. We've watched it from 2016, 2017. There's a joke that the only way to get hired in the White House in 2019 and 2020 is you have to show them that you were never Trump in 2016. People are tired of that. People are demoralized. People don't see the value in defending someone who rewards the traitors, the people who are not responsible for any of the wins. And so you can't get genuine enthusiasm. Remember, General Patton said, what's the most important aspect of the Army other than logistics? Morale, right? Morale. The belief that your leaders are going to stand there with you, the belief that your leaders are going to hit the other side hard, the belief that your leader wants to win. So there's no morale, and without that morale, you're not going to have that organic online uprising.
Real quickly, Mike, because we always try to be action-oriented here. If you had a chance to talk to the president, give him 2 or 3 things, actions that he needs to take in your mind to win again in 2020, what would you tell him?
Well, he did the Roger Stone commutation, which I viewed as non-negotiable. That's great. Action-oriented, we love the social media beefs, but not against John Legend and LeBron James. Go after Steve Kerr. Put Steve Kerr on blast right now on Twitter. Hey, Steve, you have a lot to say about civil rights. How much of that Chinese money are you going to give back? Say free Hong Kong, right? That's what we need him to do. We need him punching up. We love the beefs. Everybody loves a fight. If there's a fight happening on the street corner, everybody's going to stop to watch the fight. But Trump fighting with LeBron James is beneath the dignity of the office, and it's beneath his power level. I want to see him go after Steve Kerr. I want to see him go after the CEO and the NBA commissioner and say, you're doing business with China. That's one thing he could do. 2 is you always attack your enemies indirectly, as the Medicis would tell you and you'd read about in The Prince. So rather than getting into direct conflicts that you can't win, there's a lot of indirect things you could do. You could issue sanctions against China that could completely financially cripple the NBA. Why not? They want to be your enemy. They want to be tough guys. You have the power. Use your power. Finally, and this is a little bit just more wider, there's not much time left. Get somebody to show you where to push the buttons. Rick Grinnell, in 60 days, completely debunked the Russia conspiracy theory hoax. Why? Because he knew what buttons to push, what levers to pull. He needs someone like that who understands that you're dealing with the bureaucracy. You're dealing with people who are going to slow walk. You're dealing with people who are at the DMV. That's the FBI, CIA. We think it's an episode of Homeland. This episode of the DMV, or Parks and Recreations, or Office Space. Get someone in there while there's still time, and there isn't much time, who knows what buttons to push, and who knows the bureaucratic levers to pull, and that could change the course of the election.
Steve.
Mike Cernovich. Mike, how do people get more access to you?
You can go to Cernovich.com. You can watch Hoax Movie, and as long as I'm going to be on Twitter, who knows, any day I could be gone. Twitter.com/CERNOVICH.
Mike Cernovich, filmmaker, author, provocateur, fighter, patriot. Mike, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, now, it's not often you get 2 heavyweight prize fighters on the same segment. We now turn to Larry Elder. Larry's also a filmmaker, has made an incredible new movie, Uncle Tom, that is just premiered down at Dallas. Larry, thank you for joining us today on War and Pandemic.
Stephen, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
No, you're a great hero of everybody on the show, and a real hero and a mentor to me. Can we play, Raheem, can we play the clip quickly? I know Larry's agreed to stay over for at least the next segment, maybe get another one, because we've got to get the wisdom of Larry Elder. Can we play the clip from Uncle Tom?
Yeah, and we'll let's get Vish. Vish is in the hot seat as well now. Let's get Vish to introduce it here.
All right, and this is the Uncle Tom trailer. Let's roll it, AVN.
I don't remember the actual day, but I remember the emotion that I felt when it happened.
I'm often asked, was there an epiphany?
I started asking questions.
As I became more politically aware,
a lot of the way that I saw things began to change.
All of this information I've been taking in for several years.
A continuation of these kind of contradictions.
I had bought into all of these lies.
You begin to see what the real agenda is.
That's usually how that red pilling process begins.
Black America is starting to get it.
People are starting to realize what's going on.
Steve.
Larry Elder, filmmaker. Larry, we only got Raheem jump in here when we got to go to a break. But Larry, people, Cernovich is an incredibly tough guy. A lot of the conservatives get grief every day. People don't realize, Larry, what black conservatives have to go through every day of their life. What inspired you to make this film?
Well, the young filmmaker approached me a couple years ago, Stephen, and told me about this idea. And he had no money. He had no access to some of the people he wanted to interview. I thought it was an intriguing idea to explore why the hell that people like Shelby Steele, Thomas Sowell, Herman Cain, Candace Owens, Carol Swain, some of the others in the building in the movie can't even raise intelligent issues about the Democratic Party. Why are we in bed with a party that's the party of porous borders when studies show that unskilled illegal aliens compete for jobs that would otherwise be held by unskilled black and brown workers and puts downward pressure on their wages? Why are we in the party that does not want a woman who lives across the street from a school where only 3% of kids can do grade level, and her kid is being mandated to go there? Republican Party wants to give her an option. Why are we in the party of anti-school choice? Why are we in the party that raises taxes on wealthy people, that pushes policies like minimum wage, that makes it more difficult for unskilled black people, teenagers, to get work in the inner city? Why are we in that party? And when people like that, and when people like the people in the movie raise these questions, rather than this sparking an intelligent, healthy debate within the black community, we're maligned, discredited, called Uncle Tom's. It's a blur.
Larry, we're up against a break here, but we want to hold you over, make sure that we bring you back and just walk through all of that and more from the movie. Vish is here in the seat as well. Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon. Larry Elder returns right after this break.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
At Leaf Filter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning forever. Whoa! Way too dangerous, Bill. Say goodbye to that ladder. Way too clogged, Melissa. Those black gutters are causing serious damage to your home. Look at these cracks in your foundation. Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system, will keep you safe and protect your home. Leaf Filter's stainless micromesh screen fits over your existing gutters and is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water. No more leaves or debris in your gutters for the life of your home. Schedule your free gutter inspection and estimate, just like Paul. With Leaf Filter's lifetime warranty, we guarantee you'll never have to clean those nasty gutters again. Everybody okay with that? I sure am. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Act now and save 15% off your purchase.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, welcome back to the War Room, Monday, July 13th, year of our Lord 2020. Vish Bora, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam here on Capitol Hill. Over to Stephen K. Bannon.
Remember, if you're an entrepreneur, you need every tool you can possibly get your hands on to get through this economic inferno. NetSuite by Oracle is that tool. If you've got a business, $1 million in revenue to $100 million, you need to look at NetSuite by Oracle. Go to netsuite.com/Bannon, B-A-N-N-O-N, today to get the 7 action steps every entrepreneur should be taking. You need to read that report. I want to turn back now to a guy. A lot of people say, well, he's a big talk radio host, but he's really changed the course of American history, and here's the reason. If you're a West Coast guy, and I want to, Andrew Breitbart, Ben Shapiro, Stephen Miller, Joel Pollack, Stephen K. Bannon, and thousands of more, you really came of age listening to Larry Elder out on the West Coast. People know him as a nationally syndicated radio host, but he's been in L.A. and been a huge impact on conservatism there. Is just a voice of reason and a fighter. Larry Elder doesn't back down. Larry, the question I've got in hearing the inspiration, I'm going to turn it over to the guys to ask some follow-ons, but what I don't understand is why it seems that the left has these platforms and major platforms that you hear black voices and you hear progressive black voices. I don't mind that. They've got a point of view. They should be able to say that. Why are there not more platforms? I mean, you're a nationally syndicated radio host, and you're kind of I would say no pun intended, the elder statesman. But why are there not more access, more platforms, and more ways to get the conservative black voices out there? Because I think the conservative blacks, since they're so persecuted all the time, it's like the persecuted church. You guys come at it with a fire and intelligence and a fight that you don't see out of a lot of other conservatives. So why is there not more access to platforms?
There is a magazine, Steve, called Ebony Magazine. It doesn't have the same kind of power and clout it once did, but for decades, it was the magazine for Black America. Every black home on his coffee table had an issue of Ebony Magazine. And every year, Ebony Magazine has a feature called the 100 Most Influential Black Americans. And every year, you will not find the names of Clarence Thomas, believe it or not. He's only one of 9 members of the Supreme Court. He's not deemed by Ebony Magazine to be influential. You will not find the name of Thomas Sowell. He's only written 57 books, and David Mamet referred to him as America's greatest contemporary philosopher. And you won't find the name of Walter Williams in there. He, to my knowledge, is the only black man to ever head a economics department of a non-black college. Yet many black Americans have no idea who Thomas Sowell is, who Walter Williams is, who Shelby Still is, because they are ignored in black publications. Why? Because they're considered to be Uncle Toms and sellouts. Anybody that dares to suggest maybe the Democratic Party should be criticized for its welfare policies that, in my opinion, have incentivized women to marry the government and allowed men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. So today we have 70% of black kids being raised without fathers. That was only 25% in 1965, when conservatives like Walter Williams and Thomas Sowell dare to suggest that the connection between the welfare policies and the proliferation of children being born outside of wedlock, they're called Uncle Toms, they're shut down, they're called coons, and things I can't say on a family radio show. It's absurd. That's why I did this movie. Many black people are completely unaware that the Democratic Party was founded, one of its founding principles was to preserve slavery. Many young blacks are unaware that the Republican Party was founded to stop slavery. Many young blacks are unaware that the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment were opposed unanimously by Democrats. Democrats founded the KKK. Many young blacks are completely unaware of that. They are bought into this notion that the Democratic Party history is the history of the white horse. Republican Party is the history of the black horse. These guys over here are racist. These guys over here are the guys who are on your side. It's an absurd notion, but it has been taught by Hollywood, by academia, by media. So a lot of young black people absolutely despise Republicans and believe that they're racist.
Hey, Larry, I just wanted to ask you, and you know, there's been a lot of talk these days about how these Democrat-run cities are sort of, you know, there's been crazy spikes in violence over these last few weeks, especially. Do you think that, you know, these folks are misled who are marching in the streets and protesting and rioting and looting, and you know they have a whole democratic system around them? You know, are these protests that are actually happening? Do you think it's a revolt against the Democratic Party?
Do I think they're misled? Just a little bit. It is a lie that the police are out to get black people. If you look at the studies, if anything, the studies show the police are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on a black person. There's a Harvard economist named Roland Fryer. He happens to be black. He just knew that the police were mowing down black people disproportionately because of racism, and he was surprised that nobody had done a real study of this. So he did a study to confirm it. He said the results were the most shocking of my professional career. Not only were the police not going out and mowing down black people, they were more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on a black person. Same studies, same findings have been replicated in a study that was published in a journal put out by the National Academy of Sciences, where they looked at every police shooting, 2015, 2016, could not find any pattern of police abuse. And it's not like the government hasn't looked at this stuff, for crying out loud. Since the mid-90s, there's been something called the Police Public Contact Survey. Every 3 years, the DOJ asks 60,000 Americans, did you have a contact with the police last year? The answer is yes. A series of questions to try and find out whether or not there's any pattern of abuse. It is simply not there. And as you pointed out, many of these cities have been run by Democrats. They've chosen they've chosen the police chiefs, and still they're being accused of racism. I'm in Los Angeles. From 1992 to 2002, there were back-to-back black police chiefs. And the city is about 40% Hispanic, about 30% white, maybe 10% or so black, the rest Pacific Asian and Pacific Islanders. And that's exactly the racial composition of the LAPD. Yet during the O.J. Simpson case, when the black police chief did a thorough study to find out whether or not anybody had misplaced evidence, planted evidence, done anything, came out zero. The police department put out their study. Nobody cared. Those who found O.J. Simpson was an innocent man framed by the racist LAPD continue to think O.J. Simpson was an innocent man framed by the racist LAPD. The Democrats have convinced black people that they are persecuted. The media drives that narrative, and a lot of black people believe that racism remains a major problem in America. Even though Barack Obama's election and re-election should have put a fork into that notion, but it hasn't, because the Democratic Party knows if you get black people angry and stirred up, they'll vote 95% for the Democratic Party because they believe that racism remains this huge problem in America, when in fact all the evidence shows it has never been more insignificant as a factor in success in American life.
Larry, we're really grateful for you joining us. We've got a quick break ahead of us now, but we hope you can stick over and join us in the opening part of the next hour. That'll be fantastic. We've got Vish Bura here, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon joining us down the line. The hashtag War Room Pandemic on Twitter, on Parler. You can follow in the YouTube live chat, on Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Be part of the conversation. We dig into it, we read it. We like when you subscribe, whether it's YouTube or podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds.